Hello folks, and welcome back to Aldea. In this episode, I'll be building a new library on top of the hill in Lavoy. Over the years, libraries have become so much more than places to borrow books. They are community hubs that support residents in lots of different ways, and no city is complete without them. The Lavoy Library will have a stunning natural setting with views of the harbour and the distant mountains, and some well-developed grounds around it. I'll be adding a bunch of office jobs nearby to reduce Aldea's unemployment rate, and I'll also be extending Bonny Street to continue the traditional rowhouse neighbourhood that makes up this part of the city. So let's go get started. Alright, so I think the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to extend Bonny Street here. Bonny Street's kind of I got a soft spot for this little roadway. It's not a full-on avenue, but it runs all the way from Caywin Hill Park over here in Kears. It goes all the way here, past the Kears Elementary and High School, down around the bend, underneath the bridge, all the way along the rail cut over to here. And it goes through a bunch of different iterations. Over here, where it's up against, I think this is Borden Avenue. It's quite busy, as you can see, people shortcutting around it, and there's lots of traffic that goes this way. I've had to program those traffic lights to manage things, but it does flow, and you know, there's it's really backed up right now, but the left-hand turns through here are also in high demand. Lots of people turning onto Bonny. I had to put a traffic signal here, not for the vehicles, but there's so many pedestrians crossing, and they were just completely jamming traffic if they just crossed whenever they wanted. So we had to put in a signal to manage that. So Bonny Street is very much there. It does move, it does clear out. So Bonny Street is very much an in-demand little street. I think this is more busy here. I think we're seeing some of the impact of the housing we built over there. I think is some of what's at foot. But then as you head along Bonny Street, it becomes pretty sleepy further along. There's not much traffic on this portion. How an extension of it will change things long term, who knows? So we just want to follow the railway track here, and we'll keep the same sort of development pattern. And then we're going to carry it on, and we're going to take advantage of the fact that we already have this dive down for the bridge. It'll have to be a little deeper, but that might do. Although I don't look. This piece needs to come up. Okay to dive down under the bridge, I think, but not there. So how much clearance do we have on that? And it's a little tight, so I'm going to lower this one down just a bit. That was funny, I'm sitting here saying it's a little tight, and then the rail is up higher, so if I'm lowering this, I probably should actually take the railway down too. It doesn't really make sense to have one without the other there. There. Everybody's got some comfortable headroom. Although I guess for the railway, I mean, Trains can't be higher than the catenaries. Anyway, I think that's alright. Might just bend this just up a little bit. And this one, we'll smooth it out a little too. Although we're not going to build on this side yet. I'm kind of holding off on that. So there, Bonny Street. I'm going to get the plants out of the way so I can actually see what I'm doing. It's Alexander Street. That's not going to fly. This is Bonny. And I don't like the angle of this. Maybe from this point, because it dives away fairly quickly over here on the other side. I think I will break out the multi-tool. I'm gonna set the slope. I think that's a little better. And we'll fill in some housing on the side and re-slope things. Although I do want to move the crematorium. Put it there. Actually, no, that should be fine. It's only when they come back that they have to circle around. When they're going out, they don't have to. Might still move that further, but for now, we'll drop that there. A lot of that style of row house along here. I think we'll continue the same vibe. And I think I selected those ones originally because they're 1x2, and so then they have less distortion, or at least some of them are 1x2, so then they have less distortion on the hill. Oh, we need to run a pipe through the area. There we are. Folks have water. There we go. Start of Bonny Street's continuation. And let's see what else we have in the 1x2 space. might be a good fit along here. Kind of mix it up just a little bit. I don't want any commercial. It's not that kind of place. There's the hearse. Actually, I'm going to reverse these. These two can slide in together. Slide down, and we'll put this one right there up against the others that are more boxy. I do like to intermix in some modern, and this is kind of modest. Right, and I should really be avoiding anything that's more than 3 deep. That's what I was hoping to put next to. See, it does cause that other extra contortion in the hill. That's too bad. I was hoping to use those. We will smooth that hill out. It will not be that bad when it's all said and done. I should actually use one building instead of 2. There. All the little houses, row upon row. I'm gonna actually move those down the street. I might be able to start getting away with some 1x3s further down, as I think the grade is less down that end. So I might be able to further add some variety. What do we have that's maybe 2x2? I'll put in some modern ones. Good to have a mix. What else? Oh, we'll use some of these awesome Quebec City ones. Actually, a bunch of different ones we can use from Quebec. Feels like that's a 4-unit building based on the rear. I think this one's fine with 2, where it's got 2 street doors. This one probably should be a little bit more than 4. Already messed with it. Maybe I'll just make it 5. I mean, it feels like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It feels like it should be 6. I kind of haven't really figured out my philosophy for this. Should it kind of include the gamey sort of nature of things where it overstates? If I'm modifying all of these, should I also make the high rises really big? Or is it enough to just kind of reflect that, you know, there's a lot of density that actually happens in cities in little buildings like these? I don't know. I'll have to keep muddling through, I think. Today, looking at that rear fire escape, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 units. This I think is 2. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 per floor, which lines up with the doors on the back. This one feels like, again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've changed that one. And then this modern right next door, it's 4 stories tall, bigger than all of them, only has 2. So now I'm changing this one to give it also 6. Every time I do that too, everywhere else I've plopped them in the city, it opens up more housing space, so depending how much I've used them. I will finally use one of these. I've been meaning to. Oh, it needs to be up against a 3-story. Look at that, the stupid little roof is peeking out. Unless, can I get away with sinking it a little bit? I think I can. Oh, I think that's fine. To say that we've finally been able to place it, I'll accept that little compromise. Although the angle's kind of oriented differently than its neighbor. Dare I ask how many units are in this one? Well, they're nice identified. Well, 3 out on the mailbox. Okay, well, what? Who am I to argue with the number 3, 1, 2, 3? Let's see. 1 unit household. We'll fix that one. Alright, I feel like I mean, on the other side of this, it's going to get a lot denser because we're into downtown, so I feel like towards this end, we could probably intermix some of, that's a little too much all at once. Put in some of, That appears to be as close as we can get to the highway. There. Bonny Street. It has some charm. And honestly, not a... I mean, the train... This is only passenger once we get the station built. It's not a bad situation to be across the tracks. You kind of... No one's going to build in front of you, and from the upper stories, you get that. You catch some of the harbor, and you catch the bridge. These ones in particular here. They would definitely, yeah. Stand out on this side and look out. You can see the lake and the lighthouse on the island. For now, there might be some tall buildings to come in that area. Alright, I did want to, I think before I mess with the hill, I'm going to do what I did with Cuthbert. Better to build up here on this side as well, which I think will take to maybe about here. Don't know that we'd want to have them running right up into the roundabout, although it is an urban format roundabout in terms of it's the end of the highway. But one thing that Lavoy doesn't have, there's one in Kearse right here, but I feel like this is far enough away. We'll have one here and then one in the downtown. Lavoy needs a library branch, and this spot with its beautiful views, this is a good spot for a library, I think. It's all in 2 bus routes. Well, I guess it's 1 bus route. So we want one of the libraries that has some good windows out of it. Is this the library? What's this one look like from this side? It's not bad. I mean, not great. I feel like it'd be a bit more of a nondescript suburban one. I've used this one on this side already. I think this one's blank on the... Well, that's way too big. That's kind of more downtown library, if we're not using the Helsinki one. That might be it in terms of choice. I think everything else that I have is a school. Alright, well, let's pick a winner. This isn't bad. No, this one's kind of oriented more towards the sides. It's this one. That's the Lavoy Library right there. So let's move it over to the corner. What are you mad about? It's still in your neighborhood. Lavoy Library. So it's got a good presence out here on the street, but then from the back, it has regular windows to really take advantage of its setting. And I think we'll include a bit of a rear terrace. take some of the edge off just a little, so I can justify not having to do a retaining wall. Might leave this one as a more substantial cut, actually. Shorter, but more carved. Oh, kind of a big rock face. There. That's now less cliffy. How many do we have? 1,221. As my city's getting bigger, I'm definitely now starting to notice the lag is building as the number of citizens and agents has increased. Nothing showstoppy yet, but I noticed this before on my machine that once I crept over about 50,000 things, I start to see the performance drag. Unfortunately, I mean, part of why I want to give the library such a prominent kind of view and spot is, I mean, libraries aren't just for books anymore. They're, well, Lavoy's got its big cathedral down the hill in our modern society. Libraries are increasingly filling that community role as church congregation numbers and everything have declined over the years, at least in Western cities. And the library is very much filling the void. At least that's how it is in my city. Halifax's libraries are very well used. It's well above its per capita that you'd expect compared to other Canadian cities. I suppose I need to think what else I'm going to put up here. I do have an employment issue. We could actually put some jobs in the area. That might be a good idea. Yeah, 13% unemployment. Maybe some mid-rise-y kind of office. Although, let me see. I'm planning for this to be a park, so I don't want the kind of most prominent views out of the park to be blocked, of the bridge and the harbor to be blocked. So if we did, that would be fine if they're kind of mid-rise but not high-rise. Especially if they go that way. You can integrate that nicely with the library, actually. Finding short office buildings. That's the scale of that. It's off when it's next to this thing. That might suffice. What's that one look like if we go back up to the hill? That's totally fine. $233, $299, huh? Well, they're big employers. What an odd little building. Room for like one more along here before I'm gonna have to kind of pause and give some thought. That actually, I think this would work just fine. I think this one comes in a couple of different colors. I'm gonna go see if I can get the lighter one. With the library and those offices, we probably need a bus stop, actually. Where's the bus currently stop? I think this would warrant a bus stop. So the Bonny Avenue bus will stop there, and given that it's stopping there, probably the time has come give it a stop on. Although, what's the point? They can't cross the street there unless I go put in a crosswalk. Oh, there actually is a crosswalk. I've already done that. And I left a gap in my bollards specifically for a bus stop to be there. I don't know if anyone will actually use that one. We'll see. Okay. So next, I'm going to fill in this side of the hillside. I think I'd like some commercial down on the corner here, because there's some on the other side, and it's kind of a major node. So I think 1x3. We want something that has some corner presence. That would work. This would, but it's a little too tall. That would kind of scale in, but I'm planning to do this side and these, and so that's kind of cute. Faux Tudor. Think of everything. This guy. Oh, and it's an Italian bakery, which goes well with the fact that we have a deli across the street. So this is like Little Italy right here. Kind of dives into the hill. I wonder if when I plop its neighbors, whether that will improve. I want to use the same sort that I used on the other side of the street. So there's a consistent neighborhood feel. It's probably about as close to the library as we are going to be able to get. So now I'm going to do the tedious moving and adjusting everybody into their proper places. It looks like I have room for 2 more. I've got to move them all. I wasn't lined up with the deli after all. I thought I was. That's alright. It's a little bit of a wider sidewalk, which is fine. I think that's pretty good. So we do have a bit of a... Well, actually, you know what? I should deal with that door. It needs a set of steps. Could use these. Just get it all kind of in one. So I wonder, if I turn that into a procedural object, whether I can fix that rail. So let's do Shift P. So that is now a procedural object, which means we can edit it, customize. So it looks like the top 2 are vertices. Oh! Apparently I can go underground to go get them. Alright, so I've locked onto just the rail, which is what we want. So if I drag this over to here, and then that's alright. Actually, it's kind of not. I wonder... One of those must... That one. I don't want that one. I want these 2. Okay, so that is pretty decent. Okay, so is there some way now to fix, like, that I'm happy with. So is there some way to kind of, if I take these vertices, which are also the rail, and move them in. Oh, I need the bottom ones too, don't I? And move all of that. I can make the whole thing disappear. Look at that. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to put in a planter on this corner. It's kind of got an abundance of space. I feel like there would be something there. Just a simple brick planter, probably. Maybe we'll do that. And I think rather than flowers, I think we'll put a tree in this one. I like that. That's pretty good. We'll call that a success. Just now looking at this, I don't like that this is kind of dug into the hill. This is fine. That window's fine. This window and this doorway, I mean, it's the kind of thing that I often ignore, but I'm just wondering if I can make it kind of go away by bricking it up. And it looks like I can. Oh, it's popping up over there. That's okay. I think I can do this. And then procedural object it. And then I'll adjust that. Customize. If we just shove all this kind of this way. Maybe I should just leave it as that rather than pushing my luck here. I've got something that works. They bricked up their windows at some point along the way. That blends in fine. Leave it and move on. I think one more row house maybe. Going up the hill, I think I can get away with one more before. I'm going to put a path up to the library there. Pathway connection. All right, I'm going to make a, I think, given the slope, I think this is one where it would be better off if we use elevated. Oh, I forgot. There's my stupid lamp. No old-timey lamps. There, sleek and modern. Actually, I didn't do my other paths. I had these old-timies. There, they're gone. Awful kitsch. I feel like this is a prominent corner near a major civic institution. I think some sort of art out in front of it would make sense. Maybe. It's a modern building. I have a lot of... Oh, well, that's the end of that, apparently. I was going to say I have a lot of spray on the walls art, but I don't have a lot of sculpture. Here we go. We want pretty colors. This kind of crazy shape thing. Well, this round. Like the crazy shape thing. Probably one of these when the city was building the library. Maybe we had a public art policy and a certain percentage of the project had to go into art. So let's see. Planters. I'll find a bench later. You know, I like that. I think it was an oak. There it is. The young oak is kind of a nice looking tree for this kind of setting. I think I want one of the same size though. Okay. Bench. We need a bench. There we go. A little bit of an entrance for the library. This public art thing down here. Put in a planter, actually. Well, let's do that. And then I'll put some low-growing something around its base. Too high. Well, those guys could be perfect. Azaleas aren't bad because they're buried. They're gonna have to go raise them all manually. There we go. We'll just a little splash of natural color to take the edge off the modernity. Okay. So, with this in mind, I think this space around here, with the slope, I think I'm going to make this into a garden. And I think I can at least get away without using any nodes to fence it. Oh, it's diving down. I wonder if we use the non-conforming. That works. To get over that weird spot. We're left with this kind of gap, which maybe I don't know what I'll do with that just yet. It's a different style. Is there a prop version of that? The fence that's the same as the rest? There's a lot of props. That's okay. Problem solved. I'm thinking rock garden in here. It's fenced, but how many kids are going to hop that fence to climb on the rocks? Probably a lot. But I think that's probably sufficient for the rock garden. Now we just need some foliage. Oh, they're going to hang in the air. I'm going to see if I can fix that setting. Hang on one moment. Now, I think with tree snapping turned off, I think when I go to place the tree, it'll now go to the ground, which seems to be the case. That's a pretty... What the heck is that? I can't even say it, but jacaranda? Almost has Canada in the name, so we'll go ahead and plant one. Although I'm sure it's native to a much more tropical clime. Bluebells growing in there. That's that's really, I'm quite happy with that. Maybe just a few kind of evergreens just to round it out. Do we want a regular? That's a little too big. I don't like the lodgepole in there. At least not at that scale. That's kind of more my bang, I think. What I was thinking we'd do in there. Some evergreen in the mix. Nice. I'm pretty pleased with that. That is one nice rock garden. I'm gonna say that the rocks came from when they excavated the site. They've moved them over to here and made this. Well done, city landscapers. Some white bushes in here too, to play with the blue and the tree purple. That's pretty good. Like all around. You know what? I'm gonna take that and put one down at this end too, just in front of this, because I think it will fit in the exact same way. Not quite, but pretty darn close. Do we care enough to try and shift this just a little to match it? It does open up a gap that wasn't there before. What if we... My go-to solution now, what if we procedurally object that prop and edit, customize. There. Some very micromanagement. But that, I'm really happy with that. I haven't played with rocks in landscaping before, but I'm very pleased with how that turned out. So now we have a pretty awesome public space out here with the library. Maybe I'll put a bench or two right along here. Same style bench that we used over on the other side. Okay. So, I think we'll carry this kind of pathway down through the office park here. Apparently I need to come from this side to have the lights going where I want them. It's where you start to burn through nodes. This one actually has to come from this side in. Not a very... It's a fairly dark spot. It's just some evergreens that will no doubt take a long time to grow in those shadows. This one has a little bit of space, and it's on the frontage of the library, depending on the time of day. So I get some... it doesn't get a whole lot of sun, actually. It's a couple hours, so it's definitely shade. And folks can walk along the back here. Now my bush brush, I have a bunch of really small ones. I can fill in this section. Every time I go to use a brush and then I end up having to toss a bunch of things, I always think I should make another brush. And in this case, it would be one of just tiny bushes. Ones like this. Now, I think this is a situation for some prairie grass. A lot of these are going to actually be, over here they'll be fine. Along here they're too wide, however, I've made a fix for that too. I now have a narrow grass brush, which is not all grass. It's kind of leafy, wild stuff. Okay, now some cleanup of that, just to get it off the pathways, wherever it's overlapped. Who are all these people anyway? They go into work? They must work in the offices, because there's a lot of jobs here. These 4 buildings have like 1,000 workspaces. Oh, it doesn't show. Why? I haven't really figured that out, why that doesn't work always. It shows there, but in a very dumb way. Alright, we'll put one across there manually, unfortunately. Yeah, they don't show at the intersections when using these paths. Which means I'd have to use a bunch of nodes. Sigh. So now we'll go down and do some landscaping down below. go gentle on that space since I don't quite know for sure what I'm going to put up above it. You hovering? Oh, you are. That is pretty darn good. That's the other thing. As much as I've been kind of focused on that view of the harbor and the bridge, out the front door up here on the hill is pretty impressive too. Quite the natural setting. So, I think we're going to... We'll take some of these street trees and carry the same theme along here. Along Bonny Street. Leafy Bonny Street. I suppose I should tend to this side of the railroad tracks too, to make sure things are more or less finished off here. There we go. Bonny Avenue is floraled up. We've got this native prairie scrub grass and whatnot thriving in the leftover urban in-between space along the tracks. Alright, so what do we have left? Just minor cleanup. I want to add some invisible parking in this kind of spot. That one's probably too narrow. We'll just paint that one. Some concrete. Everything else looks pretty good along here. This one, I think I'm going to make a pedestrian connection up to the top right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Go right to there. And I mean, I could aim for this kind of spot right there where it's still green, and then just kind of switch back up. And then up here, yeah, we'll have to elevate. That actually works pretty well. Funnily enough, sometimes there's more painful, sometimes you have to do more intervention, but I think we managed to thread the needle there. The only spot maybe, and maybe we can make just, when you look at the contours, it's not so rosy, is it? It'd be nice if I could just lower just this side of the path to make it more of a cut. I wonder what it would hypothetically, I'm probably not, I wonder what it would look like hypothetically if I did elevate the kind of middle. And that just make a contorted mess. It's not bad. It's a little bit kind of weird. You know what? I think this is kind of better. And we could lower this to make that definitely a doable ramp. This one down just a little bit, maybe shove it over. Oh, I didn't even notice. My old nemesis. Old-timey lamps. Get rid of you. And probably that node in the middle we don't need. It does when I remove the node, it defaults back to old-timey lamps. Easily fixed though. Alright, that gives pedestrian access down, and I want to add a node. Oh, there's probably, we just drag this one here. It won't impact anything, I don't think. There. And now if we convert this to a crossing node instead of a middle, then we actually get crosswalk to go to that connection up the hill. Alrighty. Probably want to put a park fence along parts of this, which I think our intersection marking tool will do the job nicely on. We'll see. Maybe we'll fence the whole thing. Kind of a nod to the neighbors, keep people from wandering into their backyards. And we don't want it to run the whole route. We can stop at the building. Like that. And then we have to do the same on this side. That's pretty darn close. And then up here we're going to do this side that has got this steep hill. Another one of our no liability accepted fences. If you go over that, you get yourself hurt. That's on you. Oh, I bet you this one's not going to show. No, it's not. But I think I can fix that simply by taking out the node. Something broken on this? Why are people wandering up and then stopping? I'll let it run for a bit. See what happens. So this guy just hopped out of a car. Is he going to come down? Yeah. Why is this being weird? I move this? Does all that change anything? Oh, there they go. Game needed to try and find a path or something. It's maybe too leafy, given that it's going up to prairie sort of stuff. You know, it might make sense to fence that too, given the bank this way. That one's not going to show. If I want to do that, I'll have to put it in manually. I think I'll wait because there is a chance I'll have a connection going up that way. Anyway. Well, I should close this gap up here. This might be another one where it doesn't let me. We'll see. No, it's going to let me do that one. You can kind of tell as soon as the lines show up whether it's going to be permitted or not. Nice. Well, I'd say that's some good work. We've got Bonny Street nicely. We got the foliage all in. We got the street extended. We got this pedestrian route. We have some jobs up top that are all nicely kind of integrated with each other. And the crowning jewel, we got the library space up and done, and it's got these beautiful grounds all around it. And it's great views out that way and great views over the rolling prairie to the mountains on the other side. So I think we'll call it a wrap right here. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel. Appreciate any support you might be willing to give. If you have any feedback, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I do take a look at them all. And thanks for watching. We'll close out with a cinematic.